Hi everyone, and welcome to the Salisbury East Neighbourhood Centre Community Garden. My name is Tania and I'm here to show you a few tips and tricks that we can use at home in our own gardens. So firstly, I'd like to thank Leslie for her suggestions for some up and coming videos, and we will definitely look at some natural pest control, especially for those Asian vegetables, the leafy greens. And today we're going to cover worm farms. So hopefully, Chris, this helps out with starting your own worm farm. So today I'm going to show you how to make a worm farm that you can easily make at home. It's not going to cost you an awful lot of money, and it's a great way to get the kids involved as well. So what you're going to need is 2 polystyrene boxes. You can get these from, if you go and ask some of your local fruit and veg shops or Asian groceries, they normally have them out the back and they can give them to you. So you're going to want 2. One's going to have our worms in, and one's going to catch our wormweed to make our beautiful wormweed tea. We want to make sure that we have a lid to go on the top box. So the top box, we're going to poke some holes in the lid and some holes in the bottom of the box. This is where our new worms are going to live, and it's great fun if the kids want to decorate the box and paint it. This one here is our bottom box. It's going to catch all the worms with. So we don't want any holes in the bottom. You can, like I have, put a simple tap in, or if you like, just a hose, a little piece of hose coming down into a bucket so you can catch that wormweed. Beautiful. So to get started, we're going to put our little worm house on top. Now, because we've got these holes in, we need to stop the worms from dropping into the holes. And the easiest and cheapest way, I think, is a bit of cardboard. Now, if you've got windscreen mesh at home lying around, you can use that to cover up those holes. I'm going for a bit of a swim, and we don't really want that to happen. So I'm going to put a little bit in there, because of course the worms may also eat a bit of the cardboard. So that's nice and cozy in there. Now I'm going to add their bedding. So what I've used here is a coconut core block. Just added some water and it's all ready to go. So I'm going to put this in. You can get these from Bunnings, Big W, any garden shop, even Cheapest Chips in the Reject Shop I think have them. They range from about $2 to $5 for a block. So just putting it all in. It's a little bit wet, but it'll dry out. And I'm just going to add to this one. You don't need to do this, but we had a previous worm farm here. So I'm just going to add a little bit of the worm casting. You see, it's just a beautiful soil. I'm just going to mix that in. It does still have some existing worms in, which is fantastic. And in here we'll have some of the worm castings, which is lots of worm eggs as well. We'll have lots of little eggs in there that'll hatch and increase our worm population. So we mix that in with our coconut. That's looking like a great little house for our worms. Now the other benefit of our worm casting is we can use this to top up our potted plants, dilute it a little bit. It's full of great nutrients. So you've got your own free compost that you can use. Know that the worms aren't your everyday garden worms. They don't compost quick enough to live in a compost. So these are a mix. So we normally have a mix of tiger worms, red worms, in here, and blue worms. Now I've bought this from Bunnings because I was in a rush, but if you go to your local farmer's market or check out on some of your local pages, they'll be giving away worms. So we've got lots of worms in here, and of course more worm eggs as well. So we're going to put these worms in our worm farm. There we go. You need to start off with about 1,000 worms. Alright, and they should be able to compost your scraps for an average family. You may find that the worms go through the scraps quicker, so you can add more, or add more scraps that is, or the worms might be going through them quite slowly, so you know to back off and not leave them in there. They don't want to eat mouldy old food, so gauge it. 1,000 worms should do a family. You may need to add more if you're finding they're not getting through those scraps. Yeah, and they're so much fun. Kids love worms. So now our worms are comfy in their nice new home, we need to know how we're going to look after them and what we're going to do. So find yourself a nice shady position in the garden, not too hot. Luckily they're in these polystyrene boxes, which provides a great insulation and keeps them at a nice temperature. Some people like to put them in their laundry, under a veranda. We're going to probably put this one either under the veranda or in the shade house. I'm going to cover the worms shortly with some more cardboard. If you like, you can just use shredded newspaper, some hessian, just to give them a blanket. Helps keep that moisture in. And I'm going to let these worms settle just for a few days and get like you're moving into a new house, and then we'll start feeding them. So to feed our worms like your scraps. So your vegetable scraps, your fruits, your fruit peels, although avoid citrus. They find it smells just a little bit too strong, and they're not fans of onions either. You can put a little bit of grass clippings in here. You can put your coffee grinds in here, a little bit of coffee grinds, your tea bags if you remove the staple, some shredded paper, a bit of straw, leaves from your garden. They'll happily munch away on that and give you some beautiful wormweed that you can dilute down and use as a fertilizer on your garden. Totally natural and just a great booster for your garden. Again, you can use your castings once they go. Once your worm farm builds up a little bit, you can also add another level. So you can pop another level on top to provide the worms with a bit of up and down space as well. So you can build a bit of a tower. Break their food up small, don't leave big pieces, just helps them compost it really quickly. The more they're composting, the better it is. We don't want smelly, so if they're breaking it down quicker, that's perfect. So once you've got your worms set up and they're really happy, it's important just to keep their bedding just moist. It doesn't have to be dripping wet. They don't like a lot of water. Just keep it nice and moist. That water will drain through, and that's what will produce your wormweed in the bottom here. So just keep them, don't let it dry out. Keep it nice and moist and let that water come down into your bottom collection. All right, yeah, enjoy your worms. Hope you've enjoyed this video. Please feel free to leave any comments or questions you might have on this post and any future suggestions, and we'll see you all next time.